Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Digital Supply Chain Podcast. My name is Tom Raftery, and with me on the show today, I have my special guest, Diego. Diego, welcome to the podcast. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Sure. My name is Diego Pantoja Navajas. I am the VP and GM for AWS Supply Chain, which is a cloud native application that we have launched to the market last year at reInvent 2022 and GA or general availability in April of 2023.
Okay, cool. Congratulations. Brand new products in the market, 6 months or so. Nice. So tell me a little bit about it, Diego. Start off, I guess, by telling me the kind of genesis of the application. What was the thinking behind creating this application?
Yeah, definitely. So as you know, AWS Supply Chain was focused on trying to provide customers a different way on how we solve supply chain problems. Basically, we built a cloud-based application that provides our customers with a unified view of their entire supply chain data. One of the biggest issues that we have seen in supply chain over the last years or decades has been there's a lot of data silos in supply chain. We have used different systems. So supply chain data is scattered across a vast network of systems, from ERP applications to warehouse management systems, transportation management system, POS data, and others. So what we wanted to do, build an application with a data-first approach to really help customers onboard and be able to get all that data into a unified data model, a canonical data model, and then move all that information into a supply chain data lake that is the foundational component of our application, and then allow us to build modules or features and capabilities leveraging the information and the data that we have harmonized and brought from all this network of systems, and to provide our customers that unified view. One extra benefit of our application is that we believe that in supply chain, of course, in many other areas, new applications have to coexist with legacy applications.
Mm-hmm.
So we are an application that really sits on top of all these other existing applications that customers might have in their solutions, and we leverage them and leverage the data, and we are able to connect with them and associate that information in a very simple manner. And in that way, we allow customers to think about their own pace in terms of how fast they want to upgrade or update, depending on where they're coming from. If they're coming from a legacy system, they might need to really upgrade to a cloud-based application. If they're in some other cloud applications, how they can continue to update into that newer version of that system. So we really want to complement what they have. We sit on top of all those applications, and we help customers to really be able to achieve those goals, correct? So we're excited that customers are reacting in a very excited way about our application. We have seen customers telling us that, with our application, they can build a new generation supply chain tools and leverage, of course, the experience that we have, Amazon experience that we have in supply chain, and also leveraging our AWS infrastructure to provide the scalability and security that our customers also want, to make sure that a solution like this one can continue to support their most critical supply chain issues.
Okay, interesting. And it does seem kind of logical. I mean, Amazon have this history, this tradition of taking something that they're already good at, like selling books, and then going, okay, we figured out how to sell books and we figured out how to have an online shop. Why not go beyond books? And similarly, okay, we figured out this cloud stuff. Why not open up AWS to everyone else? And this seems kind of like a logical extension as well. Amazon has been doing supply chain stuff, as you said, for 30 years and, leading the way in a lot of ways, because it was, next day delivery wasn't a thing that you could have expected until Amazon made it kind of de facto the norm. So Amazon in supply chain have been there and doing really interesting stuff for quite a long time. So now it seems like that this is Amazon taking what they're already well known for and exposing it to everyone else. Is that a fair comment?
Totally. And that's our approach when we build applications or solutions, correct? If you see how AWS started, correct? It started as a service that was providing to for our internal consumption, correct? To support Amazon.com. And then we realized that, hey, a lot of other companies in the world might need these capabilities, might need this cloud, they might need these services. So why don't we externalize that for our customers? So you're correct. So in this case, what we realize is, especially in the last 5 years and post-COVID, is that a lot of companies and customers came by and say, hey, we really would like to learn how you guys being able to navigate and all these different, events that happened over the last 5 years that really have affected supply chains, correct? We have seen from trade wars between the biggest economies in the world being one of the reasons why some supply chain got affected. We saw many disruptions by natural events. We saw disruptions by human reasons too. What happened in the Suez Canal, or there's multiple events. So, and what one thing that has been consistent over the years is that Amazon has been able to deliver your product at your door at the right time, at the right place, where customers want it. And that speaks very highly about our capabilities of managing and leveraging our assets in terms of infrastructure, not only the cloud, but also our warehouses and others that we have, and be able to serve our customers. So customers are coming to us and say, we really would like to learn. We really would like to understand how you guys are managing your supply chain, because after doing a very extensive survey with a lot of our customers, 3 topics came out of that analysis that we do. We're very customer centric, and we work backwards from our customers' needs, correct? So customers were telling us, today we have global supply chains. We're seeing disruptions and vulnerabilities. We need a resilient supply chain. We need to increase the inventory visibility into multiple tiers of our suppliers, and also make sure that whatever inventory that we have in our facilities, it stays there to make sure that it's meeting the demand in that region, in that zip code, in that area. We need technologies that can be automated and that can make decisions for the user, in this case, using machine learning. They want solutions that are environmental friendly and also can meet our customers' sustainability objectives, and that also are demanded by their customers.
Sure.
And also we want to make sure that we have a solution that can be used without having to deploy multiple resources, or can be implemented in a time frame that is very reduced, that can use repetitive process. And at the end of the day, we can provide our customers are also a very clear roadmap on how we're going to continue to use advanced technologies to make sure that their supply chains continue to run more efficiently. So all those points came out of that survey. So we took them and say, hey, I think we have all these different building blocks that in our company, so we can leverage that. We have the knowledge, we have the expertise, we have the technology. Let's put it together and let's offer this application, this cloud native application, and that's what we did. So we're excited about the start that we had, and we have seen how customers love. It's early days for us, but the customers' reaction has been really positive for us. So we're very excited about that.
Great. And you mentioned, of course, legacy systems, because most companies will have a legacy system in place already. How well do you play with those legacy systems? You can take in information from them. Can you transmit information back, or how do they work together?
Yeah, look, one of the first keys and value propositions that we offer our customers is we're really going to extract and transform and load the data into our canonical data model. We're doing all the heavy lifting for our customers and helping them to make sure that we can get data from all these dispersed systems. For us, it doesn't matter where the data is coming from. The source, it can be, like I said, structured data coming from structured systems, or structured data or unstructured data. We can leverage, and now we're leveraging more than anything, capabilities related to Gen AI. So we're building onboarding agents that are going to help us to help even further our customers to bring that data into our supply chain canonical data model. So we can reduce the amount of friction that exists when you are trying to associate data from 2 different systems. And I'm being very, very peculiar here to talk about associating data versus integrating data. We've been talking for many years about how can we integrate data, and it's been very, very difficult for many companies to integrate that information because there's a lot of mapping. So with Gen AI and using large language models, what we're trying to do, or we will do to help our customers to understand the data that is coming in and how we can associate that data into our canonical data model. So once the data is dropped into an S3 bucket, for example, we can take that data and leverage all this technology to make sure that it goes into our application in a very simple manner, and just by clicking a couple clicks.
Nice, nice. And is this a solution that's extensible? As in, if I'm a company, a client of AWS Supply Chain, can I get a developer portal and add on bits and pieces that are relevant for my company, or is it completely locked down?
Well, that's a great question. So, no, and there are things that we can do to help you extend the application. So, for example, we do have the capability for our customers to leverage the data in our supply chain data lake to help them use that data for other purposes. So the data is there. We do all the work to bring that data from all these different systems. And at the end of the day, customers can leverage that information and build any type of pipeline, if you want to put it away, to move that data to feed other systems, or to leverage in a different BI or a different tool that they want to use for their own purposes. And also, we want to make sure that the backbone that we have provided, because it's really a backbone, a cloud native application, that we wanted to make sure that the backbone of that data infrastructure that we're providing to customers can leverage for them to really continue to expand that data for, if they wanted to, in one case, build capabilities that we're not going to offer in our roadmap in the next 6 months. They can leverage that data and build them themselves. And the good thing is, like, we're using the same technology that from AWS that you will use to create a new application, correct? So you can, like I said, you can leverage the data in our supply chain data lake to extend the capabilities for application if needed.
Great, super, super. And from a practical perspective, what functionality are you offering to your customers today, and coming down the line, what's coming on stream?
So when we launched the product on this year in GA, we were offering our customers, first thing anything, to get inventory visibility across their entire supply chain. That was the number one request that we got from customers. Is we have customers that say, hey, I have multiple number of hearts or ERPs, like they say, some of them. All of them are in different versions. All of them are or coming from different vendors, because my business really expanded by acquiring other companies over the years. And we really didn't do any consolidation of all this data under one ERP. And it really is a difficult, well, more than anything, the difficult, it takes time. And sometimes companies want to avoid those steps. So what I'm trying to say, we're helping customers to bring all the data from all these different systems, get them a complete view of their inventory, being able to use them to balance the network, like I said, balance their supply chain network with the right product at the right place at the right time based on how we're sensing demand. So one first module that we launched with this application is demand planning. So based on where we're seeing and getting this demand for these products and sensing the demand, we're at the same time providing insights to our customers to move product or balance the network to be able to serve that demand that is coming from our demand planning application. So a lot of that also has to do with machine learning models that can help you to decide if you're going to have to keep 7 days of inventory in one location or 21 days of inventory, or you're going to have to move inventory from, let's say, from the Northeast to the Southeast because of you're seeing better demand there for that type of product. But at the same time, we do the analysis of making sure that the amount of inventory that we're living in the area or location where we're pulling the inventory in is going to serve, or it's going to give them enough bandwidth to meet their demand for the next couple of days or 14 days, whatever is the period that they decide. So we take in consideration factors like sustainability, CO2 emissions, cost, transportation time, and others that are part of the models that we have to make sure that when we provide a recommendation to our customers in terms of how we do that rebalancing, we're looking at all these different variables, and customers can add other variables as needed based on their own analysis as well. And with that, we provide that. And then also one of the biggest issues that customers asked us at the beginning was we don't manage our vendors very well within our first tier. We'll talk about second or third tier later, but within our first tier, we don't manage them very well Some of them, when we start looking in terms of the vendor lead times, but the vendor lead times that we have for vendors have not been updated all the time. So the information that we have is outdated. So for a vendor that it's a high vendor or somebody that I need to make sure that I have good information, we have created a machine learning model that is allowing us to understand the performance of these vendors, not only in terms of when they arrive or how consistent they have been how consistent they have been in arriving or getting the products within our network, but also going down to the specific SKU. Because one vendor can be really good on bringing me one SKU, but really bad on another set of SKUs or another set of family of products or product family. So we're able to manage all that information. So by region, by warehouse, by SKU, we can understand how we're going to manage those vendors better. So once the inventory is in, of course, that's going to have a significant improvement in terms of how we fulfill orders, because we will have the right product, like I said, at the right time to make sure that orders and product arrive almost at the same time, and we can help our customers to make a better order fulfillment processes for their customers.
Okay, and are you helping them with shipping and visibility across that as well?
No, we're not yet in the execution side. That's something that we first wanted to make sure that we provided the more analytical perspective of help to our customers. We wanted to make sure that we wanted to see the benefits of making that supply chain more, or if you want to say more efficient, smarter, understand the data. We always say that we have taken this data first approach to make sure that we really help our customers to understand where the data is, where are the bottlenecks, where can get the best insights, how can they reduce inventory across the network, and how they can collaborate better with their suppliers. So that has been the focus. That's where the customers have been working with us. We will continue to work closely with our customers, and if we see that customers want us to help them in the execution side, that's something that we will evaluate at the right time. But for now, we're just focused on that, and on, if you want to say, within the enterprise. We're not doing downstream processes to fulfill orders.
Okay, cool. You mentioned, of course, as well, generative AI and the fact that, you're using it for things like associating data. Are there other use cases of it within AWS Supply Chain?
Yeah, so Gen AI is evolving, very fast. Every day you learn something, there's a new model or new capabilities. And one of the things that we have done at launch this year is we provided a layer of ML power explainability for the insights that we generate. And that has been very powerful for our customers to contextualize the data that they're seeing for the first time. They're saying, oh, now I get it. Now this number, means this because of that. And that was very important for us, and we think that by extending to and innovating with new large language models and leveraging Amazon Bedrock models that are plugins, we think that with Gen AI, we're going to be able to help customers answer questions about what is happening in the supply chain, why is that happening, and at the end of the day, going back to simulating with what ifs, correct? What if I do this versus that? And then that evolution is something that we're very excited. We're working very closely with customers on working in those capabilities. So we're going to see a lot of that coming soon. So that's very exciting features that we'll target to help customers reduce costs, improve productivity, and at the end of the day, going back to some of our initial hypotheses, accelerate the data throughput through their supply chain so they can make better decisions. And that's resonating really well with our customers. So we're very excited about that.
Cool. And if there are two hot topics in supply chain today, I would say they are AI, and we talked about that, and then sustainability is the other one. And you alluded to that. Can you tell me a little bit more about the sustainability solutions or ways you can help your customers with their sustainability goals?
Yeah, definitely. So what we have seen in terms of sustainability is it's very important to understand how our suppliers or how our customer suppliers are meeting their goals, or how their suppliers are aligning to our customers' sustainability goals, okay, or ESG compliances, if you want to just encapsulate all that topic.
Mhm.
And we have been working with several customers that have asked us in terms of how can we help them to capture supply chain data that is related to sustainability, correct? Like your packaging, your transportation, the type of products that you're using or components that you're using to manufacture certain products, from electronics to others. So there's a lot of, and as you know, the sustainability industry is still evolving, correct? There's a lot of policies that are being implemented in the European Union or in the US or other areas. Some of them are consistent, some of them are not consistent across the board. So what we're trying to do first is help our customers to receive and to be able to get data, relevant data related to the product and related to those sites or countries, or that will help them build a much better information and will help them provide the right explainability to the customers in terms of how can we assess if this vendor is aligning with our supply chain or supply chain and sustainability goals. So we're using the same underlying technology in terms of how we use LLMs and how we use machine learning to extract that data and connect suppliers. So we're very excited that we see that there's a big need for right now providing that type of solution for our customers.
Okay, cool. And seeing as you mentioned customers, have you any customer success stories you can talk to?
Yeah, we not going directly into specific customers, but we have seen our product being very well received since day one from customers in the energy sector and the retail sector, CPG. We're seeing a lot of companies that want to really manufacturing too, that really want to understand their data. I think that one thing that has been consistent across all these different industries is the lack of understanding of their data, the lack of understanding of where all this information is coming, what is the explainability about this information, how can I leverage a better my resources, my assets, where do I need to invest versus non-invest, and then so we're very excited that our initial hypothesis that AWS supply chain can serve across multiple industries is really being a reality now, and we're working very closely with customers in multiple industries, and you will see some of those success stories pretty soon in our reInvent conference in November. We're going to have a bunch of customers working with that are working with us on stage, talking about how they're being able to leverage these capabilities either to reduce transportation costs or to reduce inventory across the network or to improve their vendor relationships with better data and working closely with them to improve their accuracy and product availability, how we being able to provide them with better demand forecast. And all that is exciting because we've been very careful about how we position this product in the market as a pay-as-you-go model, no big upfront investments or no long contracts. Customers love the fact that, hey, I get the benefit of the product from day one versus having to worry about the initial investment that I did and how I'm going to amortize that investment in the next 3 years. So a lot of goods is coming from that business approach that we started. So and there's more things that we believe we're going to be able to do for our customers in the next 12 months as well.
Okay, and it's nice that the pay-as-you-go model it makes it easy to get people on board, but would I need to hire a suite of consultants to come in and do all this work at the cost of hundreds of thousands of euros or dollars, or how does that work?
Yeah, that is an interesting question, and we have seen customers that they needed to bring external help because the fact that they have a very complex supply chain. And we have customers, like I said before, that have multiple ERP systems. Some of those ERP systems have a lot of customizations that were built on customizations that, why are there? And people in the room will say, well, I don't know. I just came to this company 2 years ago or 3 years ago, but we were operating in that way over the last X number of years. So some big companies that are working with us are requiring additional help, and that's great. But what we're seeing is that we're working in a much more efficient way with, global SIs and making sure that those projects are taking less time to evolve because of the capabilities that the system provides. And, once you're able to understand this data component, once we're able to, hey, let's take this data and put it in an S3 bucket and see how the system behaves and takes that information and translate that information into our canonical data model. And then we're able to use and run these models and see the information that is being contextualized. Then customers can say, okay, great. So we're moving faster than what I have seen in before. And that's exciting. And that's exciting for our customers. Some other customers don't need hand holding. Some customers are very simple to implement. They come in, they get their environment provision, start loading data. And we have seen, I would say double-digit customers that we're not aware that are using our application, suddenly using the application, and you're saying, oh, great, but, customer X is generating a demand forecast, and we're seeing a lot of activity. And that's exciting because we were not involved with them, but we see that they're getting the results from our application, and with our customer service team or our sales team or business development team engage with them. We hear a lot of really great stories that continues to help us in developing a much better roadmap and understanding where we need to go with the application, as we see a lot of self-service tools that these customers are leveraging to use our application. So that's great for us.
Cool. And that leads nicely into my next question of, where to next? What is on that roadmap? Where are you going to be with this product in 2, 3, 4, 5 years?
Look, Tom, we have a really great, exciting roadmap. We've been working very closely with our customers. One of the great things about working for AWS is that we can connect with many companies from many industries. We've been able to sit down with them over the last 8 months, and in terms of where we want to go next. And I think the exciting in my face is that we're going to have a lot of great pre-announcements at re:Invent this year. So I really invite you and your audience to participate on that event or listening to our releases, because we are going to show a lot of new capabilities that are going to be exciting for customers, and it's coming pretty soon. So stay tuned, and we'll be able to provide a lot of new information about that. But we definitely believe that there's a lot of opportunities in the upstream processes in supply chain. And that's where we believe a lot of the hanging fruits are. And I think we can help our customers a lot in that area. So there's a lot of work to do in that part of the supply chain.
You're going to be kept busy. Good. Okay, great. We're coming towards the end of the podcast now, Diego. Are there any questions I haven't asked, or any topics we've not covered that you think it's important for people to be aware of?
I think that maybe when there's a lot of other, processes that happen that are based on supply chain data, correct? And I think one of the things that we keep seeing all the time is how can we help customers improve S&OP processes for our customers? How can we help our customers be more successful on insights? So, for example, one thing that I said it, but maybe didn't reinforce or dive too much into that topic, is our insights module and capability. I think what it's exciting to see is the reaction from our customers when they understand their vendor lead time predictions, or when they see rebalancing capabilities. For us, those recommendations and explainability will continue to be key for our success. So I think you can expect us to see a lot more investment in that area, a lot more investment, for example, in bringing that data outside of, if you want to say, a computer, a laptop, and making sure that that information becomes accessible to customers through mobile devices and others. So there can be a much better interaction. And yes, I think that there's going to be a lot more in terms of other technologies that we might use. And also we're trying to leverage other investments that exist within AWS in the applications world. So there's a lot of synergies that we're starting to see between joint customers across other AWS applications. So we're starting to understand how we can better work and collaborate to make sure that our customers can come to us and find a solution for all those issues that or opportunities that they see within their business. So a lot of synergies. I think my point is there's a lot of synergies within AWS and our applications that we're starting to see, and we believe that are differentiated enough and will continue to delight our customers in the coming years.
Cool, cool. Diego, if people would like to know more about yourself or any of the things we discussed in the podcast today, where would you have me direct them?
I think the best place is LinkedIn. You can ping me there. I'm more than happy to collaborate with your audience and any questions that they might have or comment about this podcast. And yeah, looking forward to it. So LinkedIn will be the best place for us to connect.
Okay, and about the AWS supply chain?
You can go to AWS Supply Chain, as simple as that, and then you will find us. And then from there, you can connect with one of our team members, and they will be able to guide you in terms of how to start working with us. Or if you want to do it on your own, you can just start from there.
Cool. Great, superb. Diego, that's been fascinating. Thanks a million for coming on the podcast today.
Oh, Tom, thank you very much for having me, and as always, a pleasure.